Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for coming back to the teachings on Lamso Namsum, the three principal paths. How are things going with homework and meditation? Any question anyone has, or anything they want to share about that? No, you want to get straight into it. Okay, love it. So we're starting now with our third class. Let me um, share my screen. And now let me get that chat back. There it is. And then your lovely faces. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. I can only see a few of you, but hi. Okay, so let's start right off here. Say Shenyan. Shenyan. So She, I don't know if you remember this when we had the word Geshe. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. Um, we're going to do three words in a row and then come back to them. So Shenyan is the main word actually for this whole class. And then Dulwa, say Dulwa. Shiwa. This is a low tone Sha sound. Shiwa. And near Shiwa. Near Shiwa. So we're now going to talk about finding a teacher, because a teacher is 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 like the most critical step on the path, talking about the path, so that you can have paths, so that you can have tokpas, realizations, leading you to get out of suffering. There are many stories in the Buddhist teachings about the search for a teacher. And there's a very famous story of Atisha, who's the one who brought the Buddhist teachings to Tibet. He went on a very long trip to Indonesia via sea, of course, from India. And it was very dangerous travel at the time that he did this, which was like 1,000 years, 1,000 current era. He had heard about a teacher there, a lama there. And so he went, but he didn't just start taking teachings from that lama immediately. He investigated. He went around the area and found people who studied with his teacher, talked with them, found out what was their practice like, what were they like, because the students can be a reflection of what the teacher is teaching, right? If you go to a place and everyone is yelling at each other, all the students are yelling at each other or arguing with each other, you think maybe this is, not the place where I want to be. So for 6 months, he went around interviewing different students and talking before he finally went to teachings. And why spend so much time? When we go to buy something like a toothbrush, we just walk down the aisle and we look at the different varieties and then we just pick one. When we buy a car, I don't know about you, but I did a heck of a lot of research to find out what would be, the most gas efficient and safe kind of car. And then I had to search all over to find one of the right year and right model that had the best record. I put a lot of effort into that. But then sometimes with the teacher, people are keen to, like anyone who comes from a foreign country, usually, right? We're attracted to people who come from other countries because they're unique to us. They're special to us. I don't know if it's really a thing anymore where lamas from Tibet itself are going around giving empowerments and that sort of thing, traveling around the world. I'm not sure if that still happens. It was happening when I first started out 30 years ago, where there was always someone coming to town. Of course, I lived in a much bigger town, so maybe that's why I saw it. Several million people instead of a couple thousand. Anyway, it's very important that we find someone whom we can trust, that we are getting accurate information, and that it is someone who can help us. If a teacher doesn't know what they're doing, if there are mistakes in the content of what they're sharing, that can really mess us up. To practice or spend time with information that's not correct is very dangerous. So we really should check out teachers. I mean, at best, nothing will happen. You study with them for a long period of time and nothing changes in your life. But at worst, if you're taught, if you have like an incorrect idea about what the nature of reality is, for example, or that bad things are actually good things, things that will harm your mind are actually good things, then it can create a lot of trouble for you in the future. So for us, so we really should spend time, be wise about it. So today is all about the 10 qualifications of a lama, of a teacher. What should we look for when we go and look for a teacher? So this list is from a text called the Sutra Alamkara, the Jewel of the Greater Way. And this was by, this was one of the texts written by Master Asanga, or as Geshe Michael likes to say, dictated to Master Asanga by Lord Maitreya. In Tibetan, it's Todekyen, Jewel of the Sutras of the Greater Way. So from this book, we get this list of 10. So just in case you're curious, sutra means word of the Buddha, and Alamkara means to make ready, which the Tibetans translated as kyen, which means ornament. So when you get ready to, like, I don't know, go out for dinner or to go meet someone, you know, you dress nicely, you fix your hair, maybe you put on, you know, a nice tie or a nice necklace, something like that. You ornament yourself. So this is what this text is. Okay, so this book is about 1,500 years old, slightly older than me. So the 10 things we should look for in a teacher. So Shenyan, that means a spiritual friend or a spiritual guide. Both of these words are related. So she is friend, and Nyen means like a relative, which would be someone close to you. So she Nyen is a spiritual friend. Duwa means tamed. Tamed. It's the word that's used for Vinaya. It's the word for the future tense, Ndulwa, if it had a little apostrophe before it here, Ndulwa, it would be someone to be tamed, like, and they use that word for disciple or student, someone who needs to be tamed. And what does that mean? That, you know, if we're to be tamed, that means like our mind is racing around. If we're talking about meditation, for example, our mind is racing around. It's agitated, or it's too dull. We don't have control over our mind. When we're talking about Vinaya or vows, we're talking about to be tamed means we just run around and do whatever it is that strikes us in the moment. We don't think about how our words and our actions, certainly our thoughts, affect other people. So when we're looking for a teacher, we're looking for someone who is tamed. They they have control over their mind. They are they're moral, they're ethical. So that's the first qualification of a teacher. The second is Shiva. And Shiva, you may have heard this word Shine. Most probably you've heard this word, which is shamatha, which means controlled mind, stable, tranquil, peaceful mind. That's what shamatha is. It's the state of meditation where you can place your mind on your object of meditation and keep it there. You no longer have to be concerned about your mind jumping off to other objects or losing clarity, getting sleepy or dull. Your mind is bright and you can place it on that object of meditation and keep it there. So that is the same she as in Shiva. So Shiva means peace. So the second quality of a teacher is peace. Now, remember before I said this was a low tone she, you have to be careful because the high tone she, that means to kill or to die. So if you're going to be speaking this other language, be sure and use low tone, Shiva. And then the third quality is near Shiva. Say near Shiva. And that means very, very peace, literally, very peaceful. We'll get into what these three words mean in a little more detail. Jason Kappa wrote about the qualities of a teacher in the Lamrim Chenmo, the gradual path, steps to enlightenment. And as I said, this list comes from the Sutra Alankara, the jewel of the sutra, and what Jason Kappa is doing in the Lamrim Chenmo is giving a commentary on this verse of the qualities of the 10 qualities of a Lama from the jewel of the sutra. So what he does, first of all, is he relates these first three qualities, Dulwa, Shiva, and near Shiva, to what's called the Lapasum. And the Lapasum are the three higher trainings. And you may have heard about these before. The first one, Lakpa Sultrim Ki Lapa. You don't have to know these three for your homework or anything. This is just for us to better understand what these qualifications are. So the first of the three higher trainings, which is for everyone, not just people who want to be teachers, but us students as well, is Lakpa Sultram Ki Lakpa. So Sultram, I think we had that before, right? Sultram is morality. So, and the second one is Tingensin, which means concentration. And the third one is related to Shera, which is wisdom. So you will often hear about morality, concentration, and wisdom as being the three higher trainings. So this first one, morality, relates to dulwa, relates to being tamed. So when Master Asanga was talking about the teacher should be tamed, Jason Kappa explains that this means that they should be practicing well the higher training on morality, which means keeping their morality, not just in public, which is, I mean, that's the easiest one to investigate, right? Or the most apparent way, version of keeping morality to investigate. Does the person lie? Do they steal? Do they speak harshly? But also, do they keep it when no one's looking? And that's harder to know because no one's looking. But there are clues, right? In order to have a stable mind, in order to be able to meditate well, we need to be keeping our morality. Like keeping our morality is the foundation for being able to meditate. And that's the next, right? Meditate or concentration. Meditation is the next of the three higher trainings. And that's related to peace. Jason Kappa says that peace here refers to his ability to keep his awareness and mental guard up so that they can keep their morality. So they're always attentive to what they're thinking, what they're saying, what they're doing, and they're keeping their morality. And then near Shiva is related to Shera, the higher training on wisdom. So exceptional peace, that refers to the ability to analyze all objects using this special kind of concentration called shamatha or shine. which makes the mind fit. So the word or the phrase in Tibetan is le surungwa, to make the mind fit. So the first three are very closely related to the three higher trainings. And those three higher trainings are like building blocks, right? Keeping our morality allows us to concentrate, being able to keep the mind focused on the object that we choose, which, if we want to keep our morality, is our own behavior. We need to be keeping our morality. So they feed each other. And then once we have a very stable mind, that we can place our mind on an object and keep it there steadily, then we have the clarity of mind necessary to investigate how it is that things exist. And then how it is that things exist. Jason Kappa uses the phrase "yang dakbe dunla sarsoche." And we had the word "yang dakbe" before. It means pure, and dun is an object, and sorsorche is about investigation or examining. So that's the kind of activity that's related to near Shiva, perfect, close peace, exceptional peace. So there's two kinds of perceptions of reality, or shall we say, experience of emptiness. And if you have been to Geshe Michael students, you've heard this a lot. I think there's an understanding, which is a perception. So when we talk about the pen, and Geshe Michael says, what is this thing? A human sees it as a pen, and a dog sees it as a chew toy. I'm taking care of a cat who's like running around in the background here. And I think she sees it as something to bat around, as a toy. That what it is for us is not coming at us, but it's coming from us. And why is it different for me as compared to Alma, the cat? That we have different seeds. We've planted different seeds. We've done different things in the past. That this pen is pen for me because I've helped other people communicate with each other in the past, or more simply, I've given pens to people in the past. And for her, I mean, I don't know who she is. She seems rather special a lot of the times, but on a conventional level, for her, she probably just liked to play with stuff and didn't didn't think too much about communication. So we get a sense from using the metaphor of a pen of what emptiness is. We have an understanding of emptiness from teachings on the pen, or the two husbands in the kitchen, if you've heard that analogy as well. And then as there's that kind of understanding of emptiness, and then there is the direct perception of emptiness, which is when we see in meditation beyond that high level, beyond shamatha, actually, where we investigate, and when we come to the conclusion of our investigation, looking for something that could be real from its own side, and not finding it, and we have the experience of the lack of the self-existence. In that high state of meditation, then that's a direct perception of emptiness. So the teacher should, we're looking for someone who has, at the least, a good understanding of emptiness, and at the best, has seen it directly. Okay, so next, well, this is the next line of the verse, actually. Yunten Hlakpa, Tsunche, and Lungichuk. So this is the order that it comes in Master Asanga's book, The Jewel of the Sutra. And Jetson Kappa explains it in a different order in his book. So I guess that's just so we can have to spend more effort to keep them straight. So the first one is, or I should say the next one, the fourth one is Yunten Hlakpa. Did we have Yunten before? I'm not sure. It means good qualities. Good qualities. And this refers to realization. So when you've realized something, when you've attained a path, and there are many paths, right? Our book is about the three principal paths, but there are many paths, like a realization of that things are momentary, that nothing exists for more than a moment. That is a realization. So there are two kinds of realization. There is Tokpe Yunten, and there's Lungi Yunten. So Tokpe we had before, and that's realization. I should have said there's two kinds of qualities. Sorry. Tokpe Yunten, qualities of realizations, and Lungi Yunten. And this is similar to, there's two kinds of dharma or teachings. There's, but it's two different uses of the word dharma. And I think we talked about this last time. A little bit, we started to, where dharma could mean the teachings of the Buddha, or it could mean things. Like we could use the word che or dharma to talk about everything. Could also use the che to talk about a quality, but Tokpe che is the realization of the Buddha's teachings in the mind of someone. So it's not just in an actual teaching that you hear from a teacher, or it's not written in a book, which is Lungicha. Lungicha is the Dharma in books. It's the teachings of other teachers as they exist in books. Lung means word. It's often used when sometimes they'll say that a teacher is giving a lung, and that's when they read a text to you out loud, and you're there and you hear it. So it's like the word is spoken aloud, and you get a transmission of that teaching through it being spoken out loud to you by someone who hopefully Tokpe che has the realization of the Dharma or the teachings in their mind. We're going to skip down to this one here, which is another quality, and I'll go through the list at the end just to make sure that I've covered them all. That this one is called Lungichuk. Lungichuk. So again, we've got lung. Chuk has two different meanings, and they seem to be diametrically opposed. One possible meaning is big mistake. Big mistake. But the meaning that we're using for this list, the meaning that applies is rich. As in wealthy. So Lungichuk, rich in the word, rich in scriptural knowledge. The teacher should know the different books. I talked last time, I think, about a tool belt, that we have a tool belt of all the different teachings. Or maybe I talked about it somewhere else, in which case I'm very sorry. But we we go through these teachings and we get all these different tools for how we can work with our mind when we're practicing the path. And we pick which tool is appropriate to use for whatever state of mind or whatever issue it is that we're having that we want to work with. Likewise, a teacher has a tool belt, being rich in scriptural knowledge of knowing, oh, this book covers that, which, this would be helpful for my student. So I can use teachings from this text, or, oh, this other text, this would be most appropriate to use with this student right now. So they're, they haven't just maybe memorized, but they know what preservation of the teachings would be most helpful to use for their students. Lungichuk. So we have morality, concentration, and wisdom. And then we have scriptural knowledge. The next one that Jason Kappa covers, let me find it in my list. Oh, wouldn't you know, it's right here. Okay. Deni Ramt Tokpa. Deni means thusness or suchness, and it's like a code word for emptiness. It's talking, it's related to how things are, as in the true nature of things. That's what suchness is about. And rabtu means really. Rub is used, it's like an emphasizer. And then tokpa again is realizations. So to fully realize suchness. When Jason Kappa talks about this one, he says that Deni Tokpa refers to a person who has the training of wisdom to a very, very high degree. So how is this related to the third quality that we're looking for in a teacher? Near Shiva, that this would be a higher stage, a higher understanding of emptiness. So that can be, Jason Kampa says, either the direct perception of emptiness or perceiving emptiness through logic, through their scriptural understanding. Okay, so we have morality, concentration, wisdom, rich in scriptural knowledge, and I guess we would call this one a real highly realized in suchness. So now Jason Kappa talks about the Yunten, the qualities, the Yunten Lakpa. So Yunten means good qualities. Lakpa means special or high. Sometimes you'll hear people call Geshe Michael Geshe La. And when you hear that little extra H sound, Hla, they're using this word. They're saying, I don't know, what do you say? Highest spiritual friend, Geshe La, highest spiritual friend. So it means, Lakpa means highest or special. So Yunten Lakpa is special good qualities. So what this means is related to you. So their qualities of keeping their morality, of understanding emptiness, of meditation are at a higher level than where you're at. So here he's talking about don't go looking for a teacher who knows less than you do, or who doesn't keep their morality as well as you do. Because if we spend time around, forget teacher, if we spend time around people who don't keep their morality well, or don't have very good habits, we're social animals, human beings are, and we mimic each other. So we will, our own ability to keep our morality and our concentration and our wisdom will be negatively affected by spending time with people whose morality and concentration is lower than ours. So especially for a teacher, someone to whom you're going to not only learn from, but to get guidance from in putting these teachings into practice in your heart. You want someone who's higher than you are. Jason Kappa quotes from the first Dalai Lama, who, oh no, it was actually also quoted by first Dalai Lama, excuse me, because the first Dalai Lama was a student of Jason Kappa. they're quoting a scripture which talks about how Buddha doesn't clean away your bad deeds with water. They don't just rub their hands over you um, and then you're cleaned and you're awake and realized and out of suffering. I mean, if they could do that, they would have done so eons ago. The way they help us is through leading us, through sharing the truth about how things work and the way things are, and about what we can do with our own minds and our own behaviors to realize the truth and stop harming others and create the seeds to be able to get out of suffering. So the way a Buddha helps us is through teaching us. And since that's what a Buddha does, we want to see in our teacher, in the teacher that we're investigating, to see if we want to take teachings with them, is how they are with communication. What are their qualities related to communication? The next quality is way down here. It's ma ke den. Ma ke den. Ma means to teach or to speak. And kepa, kepa is a person who's a master. And this word is used for, many different things. Like you could be a master jeweler. There's a story of that in the book that I'm translating right now about a master jeweler. We want to see if this person is a master teacher, a master of speech. And den means they have that quality of being a master teacher. And Jason Kappa says what this means is that they know the right order in which to give the teachings, and they know your capacity. Teachers don't just put it all out there in a big pile and say, well, there you go. They lead you along, and no matter where you are in your understanding, which is how I think about capacity, your ability to understand things, it is like where you are at with your understanding. They can see that and they can give you the most appropriate teaching for where you're at to lead you on the next step. So then they can teach you more. So Ma is related to those two things, the right order excuse me, and the right topics, teaching to their students' capacity. The next quality that we're looking for, this one is one of my favorites. It's called Sewe Dakni. Sewe Dakni. Se, Sewa means love. Love. Dakni means embodiment of. So they are the embodiment of love. They are love incarnate, if you know that word. They are love. Tsongkhapa says that sewa here, or love here, refers to their motivation for teaching. It's they don't teach out of, actually they don't teach out of love of teaching. You know, they don't love to hear themselves talk. That's not why they do it. It's not that they have a love for fame or a love for fortune. It's not that they have a love for respect of other people. Their motivation is a love for you, a love for their students, a love for everyone. And they are love. The whole of them is love. And then the next one that Geshe Michael talks about is Sun Che. Sun Che. This was the name that I got when I first took on refuge vows. I got the name Tsundru. And this word is related to Tsundru. So Sun Che. Tsun means effort. And when we talk about the 6 paths of a bodhisattva, the 6 activities, the 4th one is called Sundru, which is joyful effort. So you may have heard of that effort there. Sun Che. So we've got Sun, effort, and Che. Che here is not the Che, which sounds exactly the same, but is spelled differently. This Che is big. This Che, that means has. So it's related to the den we had earlier. This one here. Same sort of thing. So this teacher has effort. So it's like, okay, what does that mean, Jason Kappa? What that means, Jason Kappa says, is that the teacher should have a very deep-rooted joy in working for others, a very deep-rooted feeling. And he uses the word temple, which means it's very firm, it's stable. It's not like they feel like working for others, after they've had their coffee, or only after they've had a good vacation. I need a vacation now. I'm not going to be so concerned about working for other people. No matter where they are or what they're doing, they have this idea of wanting to serve others. Then we have Hyoa Pong. Hyoa Pong. So Hyoa means disgust or being fed up with, disgusted. And Pong is the past tense of Pong, which is they have gotten rid of. So they've gotten rid of disgust. And this one's sort of funny. This one is related to they don't get upset when their students ask them the same question over and over and over and over. And I have seen it actually with dear friends who were teaching. I can't remember what they were teaching. Was it Tibetan? Was it logic? I can't remember. But oh, my poor dear friends, at some point they were just like, I answered that question yesterday. Didn't you listen to me? I told you already. I'm not telling you again. So this quality of a teacher is that they will keep on giving you the answer. They don't get upset because you have a question. And now this is related. Now this is just me saying this. But it seems to me that someone who understands at a very high level the way the world works. Where do students come from? Oh, the teacher says, the students are coming from me. If they don't understand something, if they're coming to me not having heard what I said before, where am I in my life not paying attention to teachings? Like, is there something out there that I'm ignoring that I could be using to become a better servant of people? So of course they're not going to be upset or disgusted with students that have multiple questions. They're going to be patient with them. And then they have patience also. Jason Kappa says, Kyoa Pong relates to patience with the difficult task of teaching. And I've heard this said that there's a lot of effort that goes into preparing to teach. Especially for someone like me who's not a realized being, I'm not an Arya or an Arhat. So I have to prepare and bring to mind the things that I'm going to be teaching. I have to have them fresher in my mind. So there's work that goes into it. So they have patience for those two kinds of things. Now, Jason Kappa says, now did we cover all 10? Let's see. We talked about morality, tamed, peace, exceptional peace. Then we talked about Yinten Lakpa, exceptional qualities higher than us. We talked about Sun Che, always taking great effort in serving people, students. We talked about Make Den, the master teacher, master speech. We talked about Sewe Dagni, the embodiment of love. And we talked about Kyoa Pong. They've given up disgust. Oh, we talked about Deni Rab Tutokpa. We talked about the realization of suchness. And we talked about Lungi Chuk. I forgot that one, right? So I think that's all of them. Now, that's quite an extraordinary list. If we could find someone who has all those qualities, and thank goodness I have, we would be so very fortunate. But Jason Kappa says, being the realist that he is, he said, if you had to go looking for someone who had all of these qualities, it may be that you don't find anybody. So you're stuck with what you can get. Stuck with. I doubt that he really says stuck with. Maybe take what you can get, because we know, because we've had the good fortune of having had teachings from Geshe Michael. We know who creates our reality. We do. We know who creates our teacher and the qualities our teacher has. We do. If we see that, I have a teacher who's missing in the quality of being an embodiment of love. They're a little gruff sometimes. They're gruff with me. They push me around. They push all my buttons and make me upset all the time. That's what they seem to love to do. So actually, that's a good thing. I love to have my buttons pushed because I'm very careful at protecting them so they don't get pushed. So actually, I want a teacher who will push my buttons. So let's use a different one. Someone who's like, someone maybe not, doesn't appear to be keeping their morality very well. that they have maybe a propensity for lying or something like that, or exaggeration, something like that, then I know where that quality comes from. That comes from my own speech. So I can create in my teacher someone who keeps perfect morality. So we know we find the teacher who has, the best set of these qualifications that we can find. And I sort of chuckled when I said find, because it's not like we find them. We can go searching and searching and looking here and there, in this country, that country. When we have created the causes, the teacher will appear. That's really the searching, is in creating the causes to have a teacher. But that's not in this text. That's another book, another teaching that I recently shared with some friends. If you get the chance, if you have access to it, The Magic of Empty Teachers is an extraordinary teaching. Anyway, so we do the best. We find a person with the most and highest qualities that we can find. And if we don't find what we need to plant the seeds. Be a teacher for others in something that they really want to learn, right? So that's all the content for this class, was these 10 qualities. And then your meditation will be, again, spending time with renunciation, thinking about what are the times when you have it. What are the times when you're close to having renunciation? What are the times when you're close to not having renunciation? Just to get really clear in your mind. Where you are with regard to thinking that things outside of you could bring you some happiness, could bring you some benefit. Does anybody have any questions about any of these 10 qualities? Master students. Yay. So we'll say Dulwa Kepa. Dulwa Kepa, master students. Well, okay, then we get to leave a little bit early. Okay. So I'll see you next time. Have a good couple of days. Have great meditations. You're gonna ace your quiz, no problem. And then we'll get ready to talk more about teachers. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you, live translators, for translating. And thank you, tech people, for making sure this worked well. And thank you, ACI, for organizing this. And of course, thank you, Geshe Michael, for first teaching this course and preparing it for us. Okay, bye.